Hi guys, should the Prime Minister go on a TV show like I'm a Celebrity in order to convince the public that he's a normal human being? Okay, so this is one of the ideas put forward by Susanna Reid when she appeared on the Laura Kuenssberg show. She also talked about the cost of living crisis and the U-turns that have taken place. But this idea of I'm a celebrity, is that what Keir Starmer should be doing?
You know, you can be told, well, things are getting better and we're making life better for you and cost of living is really important. But if it's costing you more to buy the things that you normally buy, it doesn't feel like things are getting better. We've also seen these huge U-turns on issues that we know are big to voters. So we had billions put into defence, but apparently pensioners had to pay for it. And it took months and months for the government to finally U-turn on the winter fuel allowance. And the reason that they said they did it was they'd suddenly found more money, whereas we know that the reason that they did it was because it was massively unpopular. So material things that make a difference to voters, the government are getting it wrong. And I was really struck by one of your panel who said, well, I quite like the look of Nigel Farage because I saw him on I'm a Celebrity. And I thought, well, perhaps Sir Keir Starmer needs to go on to I'm a Celebrity.
Or maybe Strictly, Susanna.
Or maybe Strictly. In order for voters to know who he is, because the words that kept coming out of their mouths was, I don't know. I don't know who
and that
he is.
has been for Keir.
Oh my goodness. Should Keir Starmer go on I'm a Celebrity? When isn't he supposed to be running the country? When it came to Nigel Farage, he was doing nothing. He wasn't even running a political party, I don't believe, at the time. Richard Tice was in charge. But should Starmer do something like this? Now, I want to add another thing that was mentioned here. I don't believe that it was sold as the winter fuel allowance cut was sold as a way of paying for defence spending. I thought it was the cuts to the foreign aid budget that were used to fund defence spending. But that's okay. But this whole idea, how should Starmer reach out to the public? Should he go on I'm a Celebrity? Should he do some sort of dancing routine? I don't think that's going to work. I think what would be much better would be for him to sit down with a podcaster, for example. I'm not saying myself, I'm saying anyone, but not somebody within the Westminster bubble, not somebody from the BBC or from Channel 4 or Sky or something like that, but somebody who has a regular podcast, somebody who will grill him, someone like, I hate to say it, but that guy in America, the Joe Rogan, something like that. Because Starmer would have to defend himself. He'd be asked very difficult questions, but he would allow the public to get a better feeling of who he is. Now, is this going to improve the situation for the government? I don't know. But it would give him at least a platform where he could talk a bit longer than in sound bites about different policies, saying this is what we're doing and why, and get into a bit more detail. It's not like a long form interview. It would be more like a 2-hour podcast or an hour podcast where he's discussing the different policies. He's taking questions from the public. Something could be prepared ahead of time, but it would be real. It's not something curated. Now, of course, Number 10 will be against such an idea because they would be afraid that he would mess up or he would be asked a question that they would not like asked. But it would allow people to have a better feeling of the Prime Minister, understand, okay, what is he doing and why? I don't think it's going to help him a great deal because people are more worried about what the government is doing as opposed to what the government is saying. Are they improving the situation for ordinary people? Yes or no? People at the end of the day will vote according to how they feel. If they feel that the situation has improved, they will vote for the government that's in the incumbent government, whoever's in power. If they don't feel happy, they will vote for an alternative. And it doesn't matter who that alternative is. You know, no amount of demonization of Nigel Farage, no amount of criticism, no amount of exposure is going to help the government. Because if people are not happy, they're going to vote for that. Donald Trump, a convicted felon, somebody who tried to bring down the previous administration, who egged on people breaking into the Capitol building and attempting to murder individuals. Those people voted for Donald Trump even after all of that. Even his shenanigans during the pandemic, people still voted for him because they were not happy with the Biden administration and they were not happy with the Democrats. So once again, If the government want to hold on to power, they need to improve the situation for ordinary people. They need to U-turn on very deeply unpopular policies. And perhaps it couldn't do any harm, Keir Starmer sitting down once a week with a podcaster and answering questions from the public in a very informal way. Turn up with a hoodie. Don't wear a suit. Just connect to people in another way. Use these tools. They're available. They cost you nothing, but they can have a bit of an impact. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. And would you like to see Keir Starmer on I'm a Celebrity?